Welcome back to Radical Health, y'all. My name is Seth, and thank you for being here. We have a couple amazing guests today. They're two great friends of mine who I love very much and who are putting together an amazing festival outside Kansas City this September. And we're going to tell you all about it. But first, I want to introduce our guests. Returning to the show, we have Serena Farb, also known as Born Vegan, who sat down with me last season in episode 17 to talk about her evolution as an activist, as a lifelong vegan. She's out there posting her workouts almost every day, no sign of protein deficiency, still as passionate as ever about animal rights. And she's the Kansas City local who'll be helping to create this brand new festival. So welcome back. And how are you, Serena?
Thank you, Seth. I am glad to be back. I loved our conversation the first time, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today.
Right on. I heard some great feedback from a few people. They also enjoyed your conversation on the show. So that's fun. And we also have the high vibe MC from the Woodstock Fruit Fest, the silent disco and sober event planning muse of Miami and beyond, Erin Whoop Whoop McIntosh. Welcome to Radical Health.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you. Super happy to be here. Thank you, Seth.
How are you today?
I'm good. Very good. Another sunny day in Miami.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yes, I was outside earlier, and we do live in paradise.
It's true.
Now, Erin, you are the facilitator of community events and meetups, silent discos, conscious connection games, and the like. Would you tell us a bit how you got into doing that?
Yeah, sure. So I myself have been substance-free, sober for 12 and a half years, kind of wild. And I kind of realized that in this journey that I still want to party and I still want to get wild and I still want to have like large amounts of community and have all the fun. I just wanted to do it without any substances. And sometimes when you can't find a lot of something in life, you have to create it. So I bought 100 pairs of silent disco headphones. I started my business Whoop Life, and it's really all just about getting high on life. And I love supporting people, whether in recovery or just sober curious, just interested in like meeting new people, building community. And I just put these events on. We do a lot of authentic relating connection games, which is super close to my heart. I get so excited. I could literally just lead games for hundreds of hours. And then the dance parties are just so freeing and delicious. And so, I started this about 2 years ago, almost a year and a half, 2 years. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm excited to kind of continue this into the bigger Thrive Alive mission that we're also creating.
Beautiful. So Thrive Alive is the name of the festival that you guys are throwing September 18th to the 22nd. It's going to be in Kansas on a 200 plus acre summer camp. Serena, can you tell us a little bit about the grounds, a little bit about the location of where the festival is going to be?
Yeah, definitely. So it's at Timber Lakes Camp and Retreat, which is about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Kansas City. And it's a beautiful summer camp venue. They host like actual children's summer camps and adult retreats and things like that. But it's an amazing venue because when we were searching for venues, we realized one of the difficult things was finding a venue that had both indoor, kind of dining halls and auditoriums and venue space that wasn't totally weather dependent. But that also allowed camping as well as providing some nicer retreat style accommodations. And we found most places had one or the other. It was like an all outdoorsy camping, kind of put up tents, weather dependent venue, or it was a nice retreat venue that had nice rooms, but then didn't allow camping or didn't have kind of that. So this has so many options. It's a beautiful property, mostly wooded, and it has 2 lakes and some creeks and nature trails and a pool. And it's 250 acres, I think. And they've got a variety of cabins all over the property, some nicer like hotel style rooms, and then indoor accommodations, as well as like a huge open outdoor space. I think they have a sand volleyball court and then like a giant activities field, and just tons of beautiful nature trees. It's a great hammock spot They allow hammock camping as well, or just people setting up their hammocks to chill in. And there's lots of good hammock trees for that. So yeah, it's a really amazing, beautiful property that has everything we could want for an amazing 4 days of fun.
Yeah, you said 2 lakes. Not just
Yes.
one, folks. You get 2 lakes. Because I think I went to a few summer camps growing up, and they always were centered around a lake or a waterfront. And it just wouldn't feel like a summer camp fun adventure like that without the water. So that's good that we have 2 lakes and a pool. So
Yes.
there's no shortage of water. And this will be the late summer, early fall, right on the fall equinox, which is interesting. I think
Yes.
so that the 18th to the 22nd of September, some point in there, it's going to click into fall. And I love that part of the year. Fall is my favorite season. And it just has this nostalgia attached to it. It really reminds me of the cycles. But it's still late summer where it's still beautiful and sunny and a little cool at night. And there's some great produce coming out of the grounds.
Yes. For those not in Kansas, I'll say this is literally the perfect camp/camping weather, because summer in Kansas, August or so, can be really, really hot. Everything dries up. And by the time we get to September, we still have 70, even 80-degree days during the day, but then it dips at night. So it's, cool enough to camp, and it's that perfect temperature difference. So, yes.
Right on. How is the camp going to be structured? Like there's speakers, there's music, there's games. So yeah, Erin, what's the structure look like? How can we choose what to do throughout the day? What's going to be going on?
Yeah, so the days will typically, and we don't have the whole schedule planned out quite yet, but as we are building, we're anticipating, some morning activities, breakfast. Also, all the meals are included, all vegan food, all included, so you can get your breakfast. Then we'll have throughout, most of the day, daylight hours, there'll be different classes happening at once. We might have a fitness class while there's a education class, while there's maybe a nature hike. So you get a little bit of variety. You can pick and choose. And then more in the evening, or maybe sometimes during the day, we'll have more of like a keynote spot where we'll feature somebody, where we'll try not to schedule anything else around them, because we just are very excited about them leading something. And so we'll have that more of like, this is the big thing happening right now. And then we will obviously have lunch, dinner. At night, we'll definitely have, on Friday and Saturday night, likely we'll have live music. We have Mike Love playing on Saturday night. We're very excited about that. Sunday night, we're still building, but it's going to look more of something along the lines of a talent show / open mic night, something where we can have our fellow campers and things, our community share their gifts on stage. Later at night, we'll have bonfires, we'll have music, we'll have some kind of set up, music happening at the bonfire, then some free flow opportunities, some story sharing. We will have silent disco, so we can have massive dance parties everywhere under the stars, which is my favorite place to have a silent disco dance party. And then we'll have different DJs. DJ Cough Drop will be our headlining DJ. But we'll have different, when we do silent disco, there'll be 3 kinds of music, so people can switch back and forth. Someone loves hip hop like me, they can listen to this. If they want more EDM, or what does he call it? I love his, Dubby Wubby. So there could be some Dubby Wubby. Yes, there'll be a lot of opportunity. And then a big thing I'm excited about is to have these kind of summer camp games thrown in. So it'll be a competition. We'll have 4 different teams. And as you come into the festival, you'll receive what color team you are. And then throughout the whole weekend, there'll be these fun summer camp games where we all get competitive and wild and crazy. And we will have a prize. So the winning team, we will have something that will be just for that team to enter a raffle, and then someone's going to win, something really cool. Maybe we haven't figured out the details, but there'll be some cool prizes and things, and just a lot of like, let's find our inner child. Let's leave our phones in our cabins. Let's play. Let's be in nature. Let's take our shoes off. Let's just be kids and have fun. And, it's going to be a day full of fun, nonstop. Fun and learning and connection, and lots of things I think that people could try out for the first time that they've never tried. So
That's cool. And it sounds like there's so much choice and option for people to engage in more of the educational aspect or more of just the let loose and have fun? Or I'm sure if you don't want to do any of those things, you can just go walk into the woods and sit on a rock and achieve enlightenment somewhere. So this is
Exactly.
a build your own adventure festival that also seems to be focused around connecting. And were you guys feeling a lack of this type of environment and opportunity? Because I guess my question is really why are you starting this? What is the impetus and what is your guys' mission? What do you hope to bring to the world with the Thrive Alive Festival?
Yeah, that's a great question. So both of us have been to a lot of different festivals, events, conferences, vegan, sober, part, all this different stuff. And for me in particular, I grew up attending one event called Vegan Summerfest. And then I also found the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and I attended like an anarchist, agorist uh, conference slash festival thing in Mexico a couple years ago. Plus just some more traditional music festivals. But for me, it's really been these educational focused events, but that aren't just your typical like, oh, it's just speakers and education, but they come with the community. And so I say, I think a lot of people, if you have never been to some kind of all inclusive retreat or event, and I separate this out from music festivals because I think music festivals, for example, they're often very big. You have lots of people coming to kind of party. They maybe come with people they already know. And if they do meet someone throughout the weekend, they may never see them again because it's so big. You don't get that, like we feel like a family. So I grew up going to Vegan Summerfest, and it, being raised vegan in Kansas, not knowing many other people who shared my values or lived this way, as a kid especially, it was so amazing to get to go somewhere that for 5 days, they served food. It was other families. There were other children there. And I knew that I didn't have to ask questions and I could eat anything that was served. And I sort of got to feel like quote unquote normal for a little while in this environment. And it's where I made friends with other people, other kids at the time who shared my values. And it was really fun. They had kids of all ages together at this event as well. So like teens would sometimes babysit or play with younger kids. And so it was this very intergenerational community. But anyway, so all that to say, and I was still am attending Vegan Summerfest, but going to all these different things, I felt like community at these was amazing. And then every time I've attended an event, there's something where I'm like, ooh, if I was organizing this, I would do this. Or like this one has great education, but they're lacking the music. Or this one has a great food, but is lacking the education. Or this one is really fun, but kind of all these different things. And every time I've attended them, I've just kind of, for years, had this feeling of like, I want to create this dream environment that takes all the best elements of all these different things I've been to and put them together. And community being really key, because I'm kind of jumping around here, but going back to one of the things I was saying, for someone who hasn't attended something like the Woodstock Fruit Festival or, some kind of retreat or festival that's built around shared values, I think people don't understand how incredibly powerful that is. There is just nothing, even for me, having grown up vegan, right? When I would go to a place like Vegan Summerfest and hear a keynote speaker talking about plant-based nutrition, even though I already care about health, I already try to eat healthy, there's a different experience of like watching a YouTube video online, learning about something, and sitting in a room with 400 other people, kind of feeling that collective energy with a real life person on stage hyping you up or sharing something powerful. You feel like you're part of something, bigger than yourself, and you're like truly changing the world and creating a new paradigm. And that feeling with that community, with those people around a shared value, it's literally one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in my life. And it's something that has happened at a few of these unique festivals. And so then kind of coming to how we came together on this. So this is a vision that I've had for a number of years, like the past 6 or 7 years. This is something I've really been wanting to do, but I didn't want to do it all by myself. And then I met Erin at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and she, as you described before too, She's really the queen of fun over here. And so I've been very passionate about the education side of things as well as the community, but wanting to make it fun, wanting to bring younger people in, not just have it be a health and wellness retreat that people who are worried about chronic illness are coming to. One that like younger people or people who are curious about this or curious about some aspect of veganism, plant-based nutrition, sustainability, animal rights, can come meet other people with shared values, but then have an absolute blast while doing it, which made this perfect partnership when I met Erin, because I can kind of bring in the education side, and then she's got these summer camp games and the fun and the high energy. And it's really this perfect, I think, truly perfect merging of like, we're bringing together community, education, and fun into this, brand new, one of a kind, true experience that hopefully will leave people feeling confident, fulfilled, inspired, motivated, just like to live their best life and be truly alive, which is where the name Thrive Alive came from. We want people to thrive. We want people to be alive, have fun, grow, and be their best selves. And not just human people, but we want this for all beings, right? So we want to create a world that is happy and healthy for all beings.
I love that. Great answer. Sounds like you identified a lot of things that you loved about these gatherings and took the best ones and then rolled it all into a ball. So someone might ask, is this a summer camp? Yes. Is this a health retreat? Yes. Is this a music fest? Yes. Is this a food festival? Yes. And I'm about that too. I'm about, there's always certain things about certain fests that I love that you could take and create something totally new. I also think this is not just for people who are super passionate about a plant-based lifestyle already. I think this would be a good opportunity for people who are curious about it, because it's only 4 days. So you can do anything for 4 days. And so if you're curious about, I've heard about plant-based and I heard it might be good, I'm still kind of confused about it. This is an opportunity to kind of surround yourself with people like veterans like you guys and myself and some other people, and be in the presence and also learn and go to these classes and hear why we do what we do and hear what the science is, and also hear different perspectives, because not everyone does this the same way. So the hardcore animal liberation activists can come and enjoy this just as much as any random person who is just wants to learn more, I think, about plant-based food. So
absolutely. We welcome everyone, and we are going to have content for everyone. Whether you are, you're like, I just want a good sober party and I'm also kind of interested in health, great, come. If you're an animal rights activist that's passionate about ethics, but you're like, oh, I don't know much about the health side of things or plant-based nutrition, great. If you're already an expert in plant-based nutrition and health and you're like, well, I just want to have some fun, or I want to meet other people or have more community, or you don't know, you're like, I like health, I like fun, I don't know much about any of this, I just want to meet some cool people and have a good time. Like, there's something for everyone. We welcome everyone, and we'd love for people to bring their friends or spouses who don't know as much. Like, we want everyone.
beautiful, including kids. There's going to be kids activities, right? In a kids space.
Yes, we will. Yep, we have someone. We're still working out the details. We're definitely going to have kids activities, and we may also actually have like a space or opportunity where parents can actually kind of leave their kids under the care of someone else for a little bit if they want to go attend a lecture or a workshop, and the kids will have other kids and adults to watch over them in a kids corner.
Rad. Yeah, I'm still just thinking about what you said about festivals, and when people come together because of shared values, that the experience is so strong. Because I'm just thinking about my own life, where there were 2 festivals in particular that changed my life completely changed the trajectory of my life, and it made me move cities to go experience the lifestyle of those fests even stronger. The first one was a music festival called Honk Fest. And Erin, I don't know if you ever saw them, because it was in Boston every year in October. And it's like a brass band festival outside.
Oh, fun. Mm-mm.
So I would go to that because I was a horn player already in Boston, and I knew about it for a few years, but it wasn't until I was a little older that I saw it one year, and I said to myself, I can start a band like this. I'm going to start a band like this. So I started a honk band, and then eventually moved down to New Orleans to keep the honk experience going on. Like I just wanted to do it every day. So I actually moved to New Orleans so I could play brass band music every single day, and that's what I did for years. And then I got much more interested in health, especially during COVID, because everybody was screaming about it. And I went to the Woodstock Fruit Fest. I heard about that, and I went there. I met you guys there, and that kind of changed my life because it was so inspiring about all these people just eating all this high vibrational raw living food and fruit, and how delicious it was. And I tried so much new fruit there and I also met someone who had a farm in Miami, and that caused me to actually move down to Miami and get involved in fruit growing and the fruit industry, really. And so festivals can change your life, man. I know that from experience. And so I really value getting together with these like-minded people and learning, having fun, cutting up, letting loose, and then eating some good food too. So maybe we can talk about that. What can we expect for some of the food? Is there like a chef, and what can people expect for the food?
Yeah, with the food, we are whole foods, plant-based, very low oils, very low sugar, and we're going to have plenty of fruit and salad options. So if you are raw and you want to go more heavily in that direction, there'll be plenty for you. In that regards, our head chef is actually a dear friend of mine, Rebecca Pedinati, who I've known since I was 11 or 12 years old. We became like instant besties. We still have a handshake, which yes, we will be doing at Thrive Alive. And she's just an amazing person. She actually was the very first person I knew who was vegetarian in high school. And it's hilarious because I would make fun of her and try to like feed her meat and do all the things that a million people have done to me in the last 18 years of my meatless life. And so it's fun to like, she's been a close friend for so many years that even though we've lived far away, we lived together in the same city in Brooklyn for a while, but otherwise, I've moved a billion times. We've lived very far away, but we've maintained our sisterhood, and it's so exciting to bring her in. She's such a wonderful person, and yeah, so she's going to be our head chef. And then, yeah, we're just going to, the food will be more in the sense of, summer camp style. You're going to come in and one night we're going to do curry, and you're going to grab your little tray and you're going to go up and, kind of build your own. We might have like rice and beans, and we'll make like a tofu sour cream, but it very kind of build your own. So if people do have allergies, we're going to be very sensitive to, it'll be pretty much all gluten-free for the base. And if you wanted to add like, I want to have a little bread in the morning or something, you can add that. But, it'll be very heavily gluten-free, whole foods, plant-based. We'll have a baked potato bar. We're going to have a burrito bowl night. We're going to have chili. We're going to have, just all the goodness. We're still creating the menu, but we're very excited. Becca has officially said yes, and she's kind of taking the reins and running. And the food, we're really excited.
Baked potatoes are one of my favorite foods. I got to be honest with you. Just as far as a whole plant food, a baked or a steamed potato, man, that really hits the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and of course we'll have some s'mores at night. We'll bust out a little bit of sugar with some Dandy's marshmallows or something. So we'll get a little wild in that regards, but overall it'll be more of like a whole foods plant-based.
Nice.
Let's eat healthy, because we're going to have these amazing teachers teaching about healthy food. So we want to match that with our meals. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Erin, you said you've been vegan for 18 years, or you started around 18 years ago?
Yeah, I started. Yeah, it's crazy to say. Yeah, 18 years ago. I got a puppy, Chops, the love of my life, little baby puppy, and I was playing with him, and his leg like felt like a chicken wing, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, ugh, like I can never eat you, so how could I eat a chicken? You're the same thing. And I literally just like connected everything in my brain. Gave up meat that day, and I think maybe 2 years into it, I listened to the book Skinny Bitch on a road trip. And then I watched the movie Peaceable Kingdom, and I was just like, oh, wow, like the egg and the dairy industry are not cool. Like, if I'm not going to partake in the meat eating because I want to, because I really love animals and I want to support them, then I also got to give up the rest. So then I went vegan. Yeah, I would say like 15 years ago, I switched to mostly vegan. And then when I quit alcohol 12 years ago, I got rid of that last. It took a couple of years I was like a freegan, I guess you could say, for a couple of years, where if someone gave me a piece of cheese pizza, I would eat it. Or like I would eat wedding cake. That was one of my exceptions for a little while. But then when I went sober totally, I was just like, all right, getting rid of that last like 0.5%. It was very low, but so it's been a solid 12 and a half years sober and vegan. And it's funny because sometimes, often people ask me like, what's the biggest change you noticed? And I don't always know which one I can equate it to, because I'm like, I really went all in 100% at the same time. But clarity, I guess, across both, just so much more mental clarity. And also just feeling really good about my decisions. Like I never would eat, prior to going vegetarian, I would never want to eat meat that looked like the animal. Like I had a very hard time with that. And I'm like, okay, this must mean something. Like I could never eat crab, or I would like go to a restaurant and see people just like beating them. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awful. And I remember as a kid one time, my dad hit a deer with his car driving home, because I grew up in upstate New York in the woods. And a friend of his took the deer and they gave us the meat, I guess, the venison. And I saw the deer hanging and I was like, Mom, I never want to eat that deer. Like I was adamant. I did not want anything that looked like an animal, but somehow my brain just, if it didn't look like an animal, my brain didn't associate it. So it was bound to happen.
That's really interesting. Everyone's got their own pathway into that lifestyle. And it's interesting to hear yours and how you also let yourself for 6 years sort of transition and like kind of be looser with the rules. Because I think that's a common problem, is when people, they identify a moral problem and then they want to fix it, but their body actually can't even catch up to the mind that fast. And the body needs more time, or the mind needs more time, or whatever it may be. And I'm not advocating to be a fence sitter your whole life and to never fully commit. But take as much time as you need sort of in that space. I think to anyone listening who's curious about transitioning like that to plant-based, it might take some time. It might take a few years to kind of fully lock in. And that's totally okay and totally normal. I just want people to know that, because when I was transitioning, I was getting down on myself for cheating every now and then, but I didn't realize that it was just happening less and less and less. And eventually it would never happen again. So it's cool that you gave yourself that time, and thanks for sharing that, how you got there.
I think a lot of it's the learning process too. Is like, I didn't know what questions to ask at a restaurant yet. Now I know, like, oh, they're going to potentially, like, they always put chicken broth in this thing, or, just being due diligent with reading labels, which I do anyway, just for like to see what's in there for health reasons, whether it's eggs, dairy, anything. Also just like, I can't read this, so no, thank you. So yeah, I think it's give yourself the grace to learn and, go at your pace, while also, I agree, like, I'm stoked. I'm very strict now, vegan. I won't ever quote unquote cheat because I have no desire. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting world.
Same. And I think the education component is so important, like knowing why you're doing this and constantly learning why. Because I think people can get an instinct to do it and then begin. But until you read a few books and watch a few documentaries and really flood your consciousness with the information necessary, once you do that, then it's going to start to click and be easy.
Right.
Like armed with certain knowledge makes certain decisions for me so easy, just because I know too much. Right. So that's what I love about you guys' festival too, is the education part. I'm a nerd. I applied to bring a workshop there and you guys accepted. So I'll be presenting some information. But Serena, who are we looking at as far as educational presenters, and what will they be bringing to the festival?
Yeah, we have an amazing lineup, and we're still kind of finalizing it, and still adding some workshop presenters as well. But some of our keynote speakers, we're trying to cover all of the topics related to plant-based living. So we have some plant-based health experts that we're really excited about. Off the top of my head, and it's getting to be quite a long list. So if I don't name someone, it doesn't mean anything. It's just but we have Cyrus Kambata, the co-founder of Mastering Diabetes, will be one of and he's a nutritional biochemist PhD as well. So amazing expert in research there. And then we will have James and Dahlia Marin of Married to Health. For anybody that follows their work, they're some plant-based integrative registered dietitians that focus on gut health and take a very holistic approach to dietetics and gut health in particular. And we have Adam Sudd, who has an amazing, he's a brilliant keynote speaker. If anybody has seen his stuff, he goes by, I think, Plant-Based Addict online. And he was, like nearly died from drug addictions. And then his addiction kind of switched to food. And then he kind of nearly died or was very sick from like food addiction. And so he's combines both of the topics we're talking about here too. Like he's sober and he reversed a lot of his health conditions and issues, and is now like focused on sharing his story and spreading the research he's doing related to behavior change as well. So we kind of get, he's an amazing inspirational speaker. And so that's on the health side. And then we have Sailesh Rao, founder of Climate Healers, who's a sustainability expert. And he's someone I know very well and is just a wonderful individual who takes a very holistic approach and a very positive, how do I say this? Solutions focused. Like, the other thing we're trying to do here is we want to address problems and we also want to focus on the solutions. We don't want people, coming in here, getting all this information and being like, oh my God, I'm so depressed. Like the world sucks. Everything sucks. Like that's, no one's going to walk away feeling like this. If you do come and learn about problems, you're going to walk away feeling like, oh, here's how I can make a difference. Here's the people that are doing this. Here's the roadmap for the future. And so Sailesh is one of the people in the environmental space who is talking about beautiful solutions to our sustainability issues and how we can create a livable future and planet. And then we have Jamie Logan, who is a vegan activist and content creator, as well as a yoga teacher also. And so she'll be kind of talking about the animal rights and ethics side of things. We also have Derek Brose of the Conscious Resistance Network, and he will be kind of talking about a holistic solutions-focused approach around, community, kind of support and regenerative solutions around like backyard, growing your own plants and kind of how to get out of the matrix a little bit. And he's all about solutions. He's all about creating parallel systems and, kind of connecting all of these different holistic issues about creating a better, freer world for all beings too. So, and we have so many other workshop leaders as well that will be teaching everything from yoga to ecstatic dance to
making your own kombucha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fermentation. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm looking forward to bringing a workshop to help the consumer of food, which is everybody, branch out and source their produce for the highest quality. Because that's tough. A lot of people constantly lament the soil is depleted, the fruits don't grow in the north, the quality is so bad, fruits are all sprayed, organic fruits are expensive. And a lot of that is true. Like a lot of that has a lot of truth to it. But there are always solutions, like you're just talking about. There's always ways to get food cheaper and higher quality. So I'm looking forward to, bringing ideas about how to shop from the wholesaler, shop from the distributors, cut out the middleman, some tips like that, how to grow your own, how to forage your own, how to sprout your own seeds and start your own little, not even a food forest necessarily. I mean, if that's your goal, great. We would love to see more of that. But I think just people empowering themselves to source food naturally and in bulk and cheap and as close to the source as possible. I hope to empower people with that knowledge so that they can leave with practical points to work with.
Yeah, we're really excited. And I mean, I think what people should take away from this too is regardless of how long you've been vegan, regardless of how much you're like, oh, I've heard and seen everything online, I feel very confident in saying I can promise you will be able to learn something new at Thrive Alive. Like, there are things that I've been vegan my whole life, and I'm like, I'm really looking forward to these workshops. This is a take or a perspective, or, and we're trying to kind of bring in that other stuff, like, fermenting your own kombucha or growing sprouts, like the things that they're related to veganism, but maybe a little bit more on the edges or the fringe, or veganic gardening, or that are all related to the solutions, but that hopefully something's going to be new to everyone. Like, I promise.
Right. And if you're super adverse to learning, but you just want to have a good time, I think this will be a solid place to do that as well. Skip all the
Yes.
workshops, just hang out at the lakefront,
Right.
do the silent discos, and eat some high vibe
Good food. Yeah, absolutely.
Serena, you said that there's always something to learn, and you will definitely learn something from here. I think you're also going to meet new people. I think that's a guarantee, because there's people from all over the place. Kansas is kind of conveniently located centrally in the United States. So if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, drive over, fly over, whatever you got to do. And you're definitely going to meet somebody new who's lined up with your lifestyle in some way, or that you have an interest resonating together. So the community, I think that's why I go to these things. That's what I love, is just meet people. The last Fruit Fest that we all hung out at, I skipped like all the workshops and just hung out and talked to people the entire time. That's fair,
Yeah.
that's valid, and that's fun.
I'm actually like that too, I'll say. At some of the ones I go to. Sue me.
Yeah. Well, and you're putting this one together, so I hope you get a chance to just relax and kick back.
Although when I see it, what everyone wants to teach, I'm like, oh, I need to go to that. Oh, I have to go to that. So it's going to be an interesting journey of like, oh, hopefully everything is under control and we can play a lot too. And the one piece that we've brushed upon a couple times, but just that I'm so excited about, is just that it's going to be substance free. And that's just so we can all, like we're talking about community, if we take a drug or we drink or we do something, I think it takes away our presence. And it's like, anyone can do anything they want every other day of the year, but we're just asking for these 4 days. Let's come together. Let's, like, perhaps it's a challenge for someone. Maybe they're like, oh, wow, I've never seen Michelob without smoking, or I've never done this thing. But I just believe truly in my heart that, like, everything is within us. All this joy, all this wildness, all of this stuff that, we might take a substance to achieve. And it's an opportunity to, it could be brand new. It could be for somebody who's in recovery and they're like, yes, finally a chance for me to come to something and not be triggered. Or maybe it's just someone who's curious, or maybe someone hates it, but they're like, fine, I really would prefer to party all weekend with substance, but I will take the challenge. And, I think a lot of it's going back to like that inner child. And like, we don't look at children and think, wow, all the kids are sober. It's like, kids are just kids and having fun and connecting and being present with one another and getting curious. And, I think that's what we're asking, is just like, let's get curious. Let's have fun. Let's play. Let's be kids and leave the substances out of it. And, it's really important just to create that space. And like, I know I've been to a couple of other events where it says sober festival. And like, I had one experience where I was sleeping at night in my tent, and this was in New Mexico, and someone took something, had such a bad trip that they had an axe. They axed their way out of their tent. I wake up in the morning, there's an axe laying right next to my tent, and this person's just like laying half in, half out, just like half conscious. I'm like, this is not, it was scary, I'm like, this is not
safe.
I don't feel safe. No, yeah. And I want it just to be a safe place, like family friendly, like that good old fashioned fun, and a challenge to like, let's get weird and wild and silly and play, and like, let's just do it without any substances. We'll just have a blast. So I want, I know for some it could look like a shucks, I can't get high at that fest, but I argue that you can get high, and you can get even higher on life and on, breath work and yoga and playing and swimming and laughing and dancing. So I'm excited for that.
Me too.
And I just want to talk more about the community aspect you mentioned a minute ago too, because that is absolutely, I think, yes, the education is important, but that's kind of what I was saying earlier too. The community and the people are really key. And part of what makes that so strong, I feel like, is that you have some interest or shared value that you're gathering around. And then even if you're doing nothing more than eating delicious plant food the whole festival and not going to any of the workshops or hearing the speakers, I think everyone can walk away with new friends, and we're really trying to make this so that this is perfect for people too who maybe you follow other vegans or plant-based people online, but you've never met someone in real life. You don't know any other people that live this way. And, what I want to say to those people too is come to this festival, and it's okay to come by yourself. This isn't going to be, a festival where it's everybody already, I mean, there will be a lot of people that do know each other, I think, already coming, but this won't be something where people are like, you're going to get lost. It's so big. We intentionally are capping it, at like 400 people this year, because we really want to prioritize that community feeling, not just like we want people to have fun, obviously, but this isn't just a music festival or party where you're going to come and dance. This is like, you can come by yourself and you're going to walk away with new best friends that maybe you are more intimate and closer with than any other people, you've met before. And for all ages, we're the other thing we're going to do, we're going to have like some authentic relating games and dating activities. So if you're like, I want to meet some other people on the plant-based journey, we're going to have that. And we'll have, of course, like late night bonfires and jam sessions and dance circles for people to like kind of break down those walls and actually, really get close. Like one of the things I remember from, like, I went to a music camp as a teen. I went to like debate camp, and I always had this experience where I could spend all year in school with people and feel like I never really got that close or that, and then it's like you go to 1 week of camp or something and you're like, well, how is it that I feel so much closer? Like, I feel like I'm better friends with these people I've spent 1 week with than, people I've spent years with. And I think it's because we're breaking down those walls when you're sharing cabins, when you're staying up late giggling together or swimming and eating together. It's really that community and that connection and the breaking down of those walls and barriers that I think society puts up a lot. We put them up in society. And so that can really foster, I feel like, much deeper, intimate connection really quickly. Then you have the we're here around shared values, and that takes it to another level. And then the fun and the inner child. It's just like the possibility, I think, is so transformative. And I love what you said earlier about how like festivals have changed your life. Like, I just want to reiterate that. Like they have been life-changing for me. And there are times where I have felt like my life, I would not be doing what I'm doing. I would not be where I am. I would not feel as confident as I am. I would not have the mental health I do if it wasn't for so many of these experiences I've gotten to have. And so many times it's been like once a year, maybe twice a year that I've gone to something. But many times it's, due to circumstances, I've been to one festival a year. And I'm like, it changes my life so much. It reinvigorates it. It reminds me what's possible, whether that's inspiration on health or new friends or community. Like it truly can be life-changing. And so I think for people who haven't experienced that and you're like, oh, like, why would I pay so much money to go and eat some food and dance to some music? Like I could just go to one concert, or it's like, this is going to be so different and so much more than that. And you can literally walk away with your life truly changed and a different person and feel so much more fulfilled, connected, happy, like actually be inspired to change your course or do something different with your life. So yeah, the connection is I think the community and the people are what make these events what they are. And I believe we have some of the very best and coolest people coming, being involved, teaching workshops, and you're going to walk away with a new community, new best friends, and the most transformative, 4 days of your life.
That's beautiful.
I definitely, I would love to piggyback a tiny bit because I also went to some environmental summer camp as a kid for like 3 years. And every year I'm like, this is the best week of the year. And I got so close with all the kids and experienced so many new things. And then as an adult, I went to like, an adult summer camp. Then I worked at an adult summer camp. Then I worked at 2 more adult summer camps. And then I worked at another camp for kids and adults. And then I started working at the festivals, and like every single one of them, just so meaningful, especially the Woodstock Fruit Fest for me has been the most impactful and just beautiful, and finding, the most amazing people. And I have so many stories that start like this one time at Woodstock or this one time at this, and everyone's like, all right, these these festivals. And even like with my Whoop Life parties, I've had somebody came once who was very reluctant to do the authentic relating portion. She was very nervous, and I kind of at the last minute I was like, please, just jump in, just do it. I know you just want to dance, but just try it. So she did it. She did the full hour of games. At the end, she was like just blown away. She's like, I got closer with this group of, there was like 7 of us, than I have with my colleagues at work in the past 10 years. And that was just one night, 1 hour. So I'm just so excited to be like, oh wow, we're gonna just get like really create family and fun. And this is just the beginning. Our goal is to have this continue. This is not the first you'll see of Thrive Alive, and I'm excited to just, I'm just excited. I can't, yeah.
And it will be all ages, just to reiterate that too, all ages. Like, doesn't matter what age you are, what portion or interest, either way, it doesn't matter, because it's inclusive of everyone, and we'll have things that work for everyone. And we'll just, families, kids, young adults, teens, 20s and 30-year-olds, singles, couples, like all welcome. And there will be something for everyone in that community building as well.
Love it. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate the space you guys are creating for this type of energy to cultivate. And I also think that the authentic relating games and connection games can get so much deeper than even just a regular, let's say you do like capture the flag or dodgeball, some summer camp games, they're kind of team based. They don't really get deep. They don't get people talking. And so I don't know if everyone listening right now is familiar with authentic relating. I'm sure they can put the pieces and the words together, but is that a specific format for an activity? Like what, Erin, what is authentic relating to you, and what can it bring about?
Authentic relating to me it's a practice I found, I'd say like 8 years ago when I moved to Brooklyn. I dove very deep into the acro yoga community and did my teacher training and just dove in New York City. Loved it. And that community is all about communication, trust building, fun, play. Obviously, the actual act of putting somebody up on your feet and flying them and doing this, doing that. But I got invited to some of these authentic relating classes, which were often held at yoga studios there. And I was like, what is this? And it kind of like blew me away. And I started taking classes. I've done 3 different trainings on it. And the idea behind it is it's sort of like an opportunity for you to obviously show up authentically, be who you want to be. Like the idea is to release judgment. It's hard to do. You see somebody walk in the room, you already have a story about this person. It's like, let's try to release it, leave it at the door. We try to give one another presents, because that's often something that can be lacking, especially with phones and this and that, and people really truly face-to-face connecting, listening. There's a lot of prompts and things, so you're not just like off on your own. It's like, hey, let's play this particular game, which, to give you an example of a game, I know you've done a lot of them, Seth particular, but one could be hot seat, where everyone, there's a group of 4 and each person has an opportunity to be in the hot seat, and then their group ask them questions, and they say whether they want their questions to be mild, medium, spicy, or muy caliente, which could mean anything to anyone, and then just spitfire. They get 3 minutes and everyone learns about them and they share their curiosities. And if there's a question that comes up they don't want to answer, nope, no biggie, just skip it. So that could be an example of a game. Or maybe it's like all of us are in a huge circle and you say to the person next to you exactly what you need to hear right now. And then you go around the circle and each person shares what they need to hear. And it just kind of hearing everybody share, you're like, oh wow, like I really needed to hear that too. Oof, I needed to hear that one. Kind of shows the commonalities. It's an opportunity to be brave and get out of your comfort zone. I would say it's therapeutic. It's not therapy, but it feels a lot of times afterwards, people are like, wow, this kind of feels like therapy. It's just actually having someone be there and hold space, and like holding that win for one another, I think is really important. It's like we see everybody in this beautiful light and just wanting them to win at life and be their best self. And so it's sort of like getting these games set up in order to do that, in order to kind of break down some of those walls. I definitely ask people to get super silly in the beginning. There's a lot of laughter. But then we might dive into something and start crying and like share about, a really uh, intense grief situation they might have. And, it's keeping yourself safe, not going so far out of your comfort zone, but getting out of it enough to be like, okay, it's a little edgy. I'm going to play with it. And yeah, I love it, obviously, in case you couldn't tell by that description. But I think it's a practice that there are a few actual people doing. Like there's art, like authentic relating training. It's an international program. They're offering things. There's some courses online. Art or Authentic Revolution, Sarah Ness's group. There's a handful of facilitators who are actually offering almost like a yoga teacher training. You do a teacher training. I went to Costa Rica this summer and did 2 more. I did 1 years ago with Amy Silverman in New York City, and I just want more. I'm like, how can I keep learning so I can keep offering? And I just love it.
Yeah, it is amazing. It seems like in our culture, there's a lack of this type of activity, this type of prompting for young people or anyone really. Especially, I think of the older generations who were brought up and taught to work and keep their head down for a lot of the time
Right.
and not to be spontaneous and silly and fun. And maybe it's taking a new generation of people to come in and say, no, we need this. We need to be spontaneous, silly, and fun and present and real.
Yeah.
Real about our issues too. That's the other thing. It's not like a spiritual bypass where you're just like, no, we're having fun now.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, if I need to tell you something traumatic or say something, express something, get it off my chest that I feel or that happened to me, someone else is going to hear that and they're going to relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it creates lightness for like 2 people.
Right.
And that's the beauty of authentic relating and having a facilitator. Facil in Spanish means easy. So facilitator is someone who makes it easy to do whatever you're doing. And if that is being present, being honest, being true, being real, having fun, that's great that we have you and all these other people hosting the workshops, hosting the activities and games and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, y'all. Thrive Alive Vegan Festival, summer. September 18th through 22nd. Come meet your soulmate. Come meet your tribe. Eat some good food. Hang out under the trees. Bring a hammock. What airport do people fly into if they're coming from out of town?
The Kansas City International Airport. I believe the code online is actually MCI, not KCI, but if you look up Kansas City International Airport, that will get you there. And we are working out the details, but hopefully we'll be providing or being able to offer some kind of shuttle or transportation from there to the festival as well.
There's also an opportunity if someone wants to drive. We do allow like car camping. There's a handful of actual RV hookups with electricity and everything. So that there aren't infinite amounts of those. So if that's something that interests you, hop on the website and get your ticket for that. I'd say sooner rather than later. So yeah, you can bring. Well, yeah, we didn't really talk about the housing that much, but you can bring a tent, you can camp, you can bring your hammock that we mentioned. There's also cabin opportunities for you just to say, hey, I want like a bed in a shared cabin, co-ed or, gender-based. Then there's also a few private cabins left. Also, again, if that interests you, I would get that sooner rather than later. So there's many different opportunities if you want to drive, if you want to fly, if you want to take a train. I love trains. If you want a car camp, yeah, that's totally cool. I imagine we're gonna have some vans and some van lifers and all that.
And then on the rooms too, we have private suites that have like a private bathroom. And if you look on our website, we have a whole different range because there's so many different options. But some of the rooms have just a queen size bed. Some of them have a queen size bed and a bunk bed. So that would be good, for a family or 2 bunk beds. It'll say how many they sleep. But if you're getting a private room, just logistically speaking, you can fill that with your, group of friends or whoever else is coming to the festival with you, family, friends, whatever. So it doesn't, it's not like you see this room. If it says sleep 6, you can reserve the rooms now. And we recommend doing that because they, are going fast and there are a limited number of the nicer rooms. And then once the rest of your friends or family register for the festival, then you can just let us know, like, here's the 4 other people that are sharing that room with me. And you can work out the logistics of splitting, the price with them. But we do recommend reserving those rooms as soon as possible if you want those. But of course, we do have unlimited camping, which is the cheap option, the car camping spots, and then you can kind of literally register for a bed in a shared cabin, which is also extremely cheap. And then we'll do the placing on our end. So you'll say, like, I want a bed in a women's cabin or whatever. And then we just keep track of all the people that want that, put them in a cabin together. And that's us kind of doing the work of organizing. But we also have the options where you're like, I want a whole cabin or a whole private room. And then you fill it with who you want.
Amazing. So private rooms, private cabins, shared cabins, tenting, camping, car camping, RV hookups, whatever you guys want. Choose your own adventure, choose your own rugged level. And it's 4 days in Kansas City. Well, how far outside is it? Drive, maybe 90 minutes?
It's about an hour from downtown Kansas City, from the airport, like an hour and 15 minutes or something. And from the southern suburbs of Kansas City, might be 35, 45 minutes. But from downtown, it's about an hour.
Righteous. Well, I'm looking forward to it and seeing you guys there. Is there anything else you want to remind the audience or let us know what we can expect, or anything about the festival? Anything about life?
Well, it's about the festival, but prices do go up incrementally over the next few months. So our current prices are available until June 1st, and those are the best prices you are going to get. So if price is a concern, then we highly, highly recommend registering now, or at the very least before June 1st. Prices will be going up on festival tickets by about $50, and then again, in July or August as we get closer to the festival, because from a planning perspective, the sooner everyone gets their tickets, the easier on us to make sure everything runs smoothly and everybody has an amazing experience. So we know people make last minute decisions, and we still welcome all of you. But if it's possible, register earlier. And if it would make it more possible to do a payment plan, we are going to be doing those. It'll be a little bit, we don't have a set way of doing it. So if you want a payment plan, especially for for your whole family, or you're, buying a larger amount or more expensive amount of tickets, then just reach out to us and we can work with you on a payment plan.
Yeah, and you can reach us at, either info@thrivealivefest.com. We have an Instagram. We'd love some more follows as we are brand new and growing. We would love if everybody can share with all your favorite humans. And our Instagram's just also Thrive Alive Fest. Website, thrivealivefest.com. Gives you all the info. And just come and have fun with us. Let's create a big Thrive Alive family. I'm really excited. Thank you for having us, Seth.
My pleasure. Thanks for throwing this festival together and providing a place for people to commune and celebrate life and freedom, health, music, community, all that good stuff. Everybody listening, go to thrivealivefest.com. You can find your tickets. You can find the lineup of speakers and musicians. Follow them on Instagram and get your tickets, y'all.
Woo-hoo.
So, all right. Thanks again, Serena Farb and Erin.
Thank you so much, Seth. Thanks for having us on, and we hope to see everyone there in September.
Yes.
We'll see you there.
Have a beautiful day.